Let us continue then. Finished off lock story number 1. Let's just continue through and see who our brawler is. Bad beat. So at this point I'm kind of thinking that this shit is kind of fucking boring, right? Like nothing's happened for a chapter straight. It's just this explanation of what's actually been going on. And some of that's warranted, right? I want to know what's going on. For something like this, somebody's gotta lay it out straight. It's pretty impossible to just figure it out through action. But I mean, after a certain point, it just gets annoying. Wow. Like, wrap it up, jeez. Anyway, this is right when the book's starting to lose me. Then in an instant, they shed their clothes and take off their wig. Boom! Turns out she was actually the heiress all along. And for a moment I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Suddenly this climax was a lot more, prepossessing. Captivating look works just fine. Captivating then. So we're Vels. So yeah, now I'm into it. But then hold on, I take a second to think about it. Does that make any sense? Like they're in two separate places, you don't see them at the same time, fair enough. But they're always in both places whenever the main character enters the room. The hell are the chances of that? What, are they just sprinting from place to place all the time? Wouldn't they be seen at some point? On that note, the mansion was filled with the girl's family. I get that it was a disguise or whatever, but like, the visitor interviewed all of them. You tell me the girl's father who's lived with her for decades would notice something off. Something was off over the weekend. The visitor was snooping around the house. The problem was, it didn't have any foreshadowing. So even though it invoked temporary surprise or excitement maybe, it fell flat. Are you sure it didn't have any foreshadowing? Maybe you just didn't pick up on any. I mean, I thought back and couldn't remember any. But even if there was foreshadowing, it doesn't really matter to me. Because my bigger question is what the twist even does. Like, narratively speaking, the author could have written the visitor character out completely and nothing would have changed. It didn't help any tricks, it didn't obscure the truth. It doesn't even play into the whole arguing sister subplot that dominated almost all their scenes. In the end, the only function of having the visitor was to reveal that they were actually the heiress. And I don't think that's good writing. Yeah, sounds like. To be honest, it was hard to form any meaningful opinions. It's not like I read the book myself. That didn't stop Krish from talking all about it. Not that I minded. It's not like I was going to be reading some random book anytime soon. It just didn't make for a particularly interesting conversation on my part. Yeah, whatever. I didn't have it in me to tell them, so I just let Krish rant. It was something to listen to while the two of us made our walk through Panthea. I enjoyed spending my free time with Krish for the most part. Whenever we both didn't have anything going on a rare occurrence, I liked hanging out with them. They were optimistic, a trait I didn't share, but one I admired. They knew their way around the street scene of Panthea. That was useful to a relative newcomer to the city like me. We were an odd pair. Krish would describe their fashion style as fresh and hip. He'd be right in a certain decade, but not mine. As for me, I sported a simple, distinctive red hoodie. The fact that I kept it low might have suggested to the random passerby that I wanted to keep a low profile. But that idea clashed with the fact that it was a sleeveless hoodie, which showed off the lightning spiral tattoos on my arms. It's unlikely anyone would walk by us and not have some opinions, one way or another. My question is, why do you read so many of these books? And why talk about them to me so much, although I kept that opinion to myself? You stupid? To write, you must first read. That's, some famous writer, I'm sure. You stupid? Fuck off! I'm bad with names, okay? The point is, if I want to actually make it as a successful writer one day, I need to have a big pool of shit to draw from. Then I gotta, like, analyze it and junk. Figure out what works and what doesn't. And that'll actually make you a better writer? You serious? Sorry, I'm just not really knowledgeable about that sort of stuff. Of course it makes me a better writer. If it didn't, I wouldn't be doing it. Oh. You know how I know it's useful? Because I make sure of it. Every story I read, I usually learn at least one lesson. I get a good idea about something. Whenever that happens, I make sure to jot it down right here. Krish then proceeded to pull out a small green leather notebook. Where are they keeping that? That was too big to be kept in a pocket. Did they have that tucked in the side of their pants? At this point, it's full of good shit. So then I assume you'll get to actually working on a book then soon. Yeah, you know. Definitely soon enough. Hey, why are we talking about work now? We're not. We're talking about your hobby. Right, now's the time for relaxing. So I'm taking you to Smith's. It's the best place to go in Panthea if you want a good lunch on a budget. That good, huh? I hadn't been to Smith's yet. Obviously. It's top tier. It doesn't hold a candle to my pop's old cafeteria. But for the options we have now, yeah, it's my definite go-to. It'll be yours too after today. It was at this point that I looked ahead a bit. Then I held back a sigh. I thought about things. I could see the next couple of minutes playing out in my head. And I didn't like it. Well, who knows? I'm not a psychic or a genius or anything. Maybe I'm wrong about this. So Smith's is a really cool place to hang out? Yeah. Fun place to just de-stress. I'd say so, sure. Interesting. Gotta be honest, Krish, those three up ahead don't exactly look like having a chill time. What do you mean? Pointed up ahead to what I was referring to. Inside the restaurant, a rather ugly scene was playing out. Two larger men were in an argument with an older guy. And it looked like it was going to get violent pretty soon. At first glance, you wouldn't think the older guy would be in that much trouble. He wasn't ancient or anything. I'd place him in his late 50s. And hey, looking good for the late 50s. His opposition was clearly more than he could handle. On the one hand, he had a skinny dude in a leather jacket with a crooked smile and slicked back hair. With that punk's confidence, not to mention the hand he had suspiciously stuffed in his pocket, I bet hard money that he had a weapon on him. On the other hand, you had this larger dude in a dirty white beater and slightly too loose pants. Hard to differentiate what was fat and what was muscles, but it was clear he had both. Most importantly, the younger pair both had the posture of an experienced brawler. So if a fight did break out, which was sort of the vibe I was getting, I put my money on that duo any day of the week. What on earth? Hey, that's the owner of the restaurant! That's no way to treat someone! Who knows, maybe the owner started it. Krish didn't even dignify this with a response, just a bewildered look. Then they rushed over to the scene. So far on track. I begrudgingly picked up my pace to keep up with them. As I approached, I began to hear the argument. Pretty quickly I got a decent picture of the situation. You know it, I know it, so why are you wasting our time? It's the principle of the thing. Everybody in this day and age has forgotten the power of principles. But I haven't. I'd be the last person in this damn city with principles and I wouldn't bend the knee. Principles ain't gonna count for shit when your shop's burned down to the ground. Whoa, hey, easy. Look, man, it's a good deal. Just take it, please. Don't want to see anything happen to you. Something would be happening to me if I kowtowed to a bunch of no-good thugs like you. Yeah, you tell them. Krish piped in while simultaneously catching their breath. The shopkeeper looked over to them and their face morphed into a scowl. Okay, interesting. This was different to my predictions. Oh, for the love of... What's with all the troublemakers today? All of you just leave me alone. You know we can't do that. But bro's got a point. White beater pointed a meaty finger at Krish. You've got no place here. Right, that's true. Official business meetings are going on right now, kid. This isn't the time to come and barge in like that. So get lost, will ya? Official business, huh? Don't see any contracts around. I need contracts to make business deals. Then Krish to me. Then Krish turned to me and spoke in a hushed, yet satisfied voice, like they had just proven a point. I've also been reading some John Grisham. Krish, please. I just sighed, knowing that things were still on track. We're gonna get into a fight, aren't we? Verbal contracts, kid. Yeah. Don't talk shit. So then what? Who are you doing business on behalf of? Let me guess. This is a Duat venture. The pair looked at each other, then cracked a smile. Wow, real wise guy we got on our hands here. Yeah, we're Duat men. So you should know to back the fuck off. Nah, it's because you're Duat that I know I need to step in. Step in, huh? That's real interesting. Got an interested guy here. How you supposing you gotta step in? Like this? Krish suddenly rushed toward the leather jacket, fist clenched. Unfortunately, loudly announcing your plans to attack had its drawbacks. Whitebeater moved in the way and clenched his teeth. He took Krish's blow and clearly expected to be hurt. However, after a moment, he realized that actually Krish's punch hadn't done him much damage at all. He then retaliated with a solid two-arm push right at Krish's chest, causing him to stumble backwards. As Krish floundered to regain a fighting stance, Whitebeater's smirk transformed into a full-on laughing fit. Nah, man. For a second there, I thought we picked the wrong fight. Well, that's really all you got? Well, I'll show you all I got, dickhole. Krish began to rush forward once again. You're a little bit overmatched, Betty. However, they stopped when I put a hand on their shoulder. Confused, they looked over to me. Just stay back. Krish had a lot of spirit. Probably a good amount of experience, too. However, just speaking straight up, they didn't have a fighter's build. At first, Krish looked like a bit hurt at my words. They ran through the very real possibility of getting the shit kicked out of them and realized I was right. Reluctantly, Krish walked behind me. It was very amusing to leather jacket. Boy, really gonna chicken head that quickly? What kind of man tries to poke their head into something just to back out at the first sign of danger? While he was shit-talking, I just closed my eyes and clenched my fists. Well, looks like I was a genius after all. Things have played out almost exactly like I predicted. What a pain. I really didn't like fighting. Often it resulted in me getting hurt, which was lame. It was dangerous. Again, lame. Usually things could be resolved in safer and more effective methods. This was the situation I found myself in. Oh, isn't this exciting? A nice flashy action scene for you to sit back and enjoy passively. What fun it is to watch people grapple with an intense amount of stress and danger while you do fall. How nice. That's what you're thinking, right? No, not right. Well, good. I don't tolerate passive mindsets. The person in that scene is faced with danger. It's only fair that you should be as well. Well, perhaps danger isn't the right word. This won't hurt you, probably. But it should keep you on your feet. How? Well, watch this. Punch. Kick. Whoa, words also. Punch. Kick. Stab. Whoa, words. Awesome. These are the concepts flashing through your mind in a split second of a moment. Each one is being eliminated in its mode of consideration. Ergo, an idea not considered might be valid. All this to say, do you know which of these words didn't just pop up? Gun. Hooray. You have a memory superior to a goldfish. Very good. Gold star. Okay, I get it. That was too simple. But what if you, much as though you were in the scene yourself, didn't have an infinite amount of time to answer? What if you had only had a limited period of time to say shoot? Do you think it would make it harder? Shoot. Ah, quick on the draw, this one. I just saw the timer going there. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. The point is, I think you understand the concept. Phrases pop up, remember them, Choose the option that was not shown on the screen. Boom. Minigame explained. Seems though we only have one more order of business, and that it would be setting the difficulty for these fights. So what are you having? Easy, hard, something in between. Let me be clear, these can really pack a punch, especially the hard difficulty. Don't choose it unless you're feeling especially confident in your reflexes and your mental processing capabilities. Hard mode to get the fuck out. Got a real elitist over here, right? A real gamer. Can I say gamer alert? Play the air horns. What do we do? What do we don't have an air horn sound effect? Wouldn't come up. Why wouldn't air horns come up? Okay, the fact that you didn't anticipate that I'd use air horns outside the built scenes seems like a failure on your part. Could you use something similar, like a gunshot or a... You know what? Forget it. One's past. What were we talking about? Oh, hard mode. Fine. Hitting one of these minigames on hard will net you 7 chips. That is, if you beat it flawlessly. Each time you choose something wrong or take too long to respond, there'll be 1 chip knocked off the reward. Fuck up too much, you're gonna get diddly squat. Or if you just can't be fucked, at the start of each fight you'll have the option to skip the minigame altogether. Seems like the coward's way out if you ask me, but hey, to each their own. Alright, I'm bored of this now. Just do the thing. Do the thing, yeah. Alright. So, punch, kick, stab, shoot. We just pick the one that doesn't show up. First up is Wife Beater. Look pretty confident, having already landed a punch on Krish. Good. Cockiness was a poison. Watch him reel up an attack. Kick, headbutt, elbow, grapple. No punch. Wife Beater took a swing and right my head. Effortlessly, I swung under the attack and responded with a swift kick right to his gut. The man stumbled backwards. We could end this now. My plea fell on deaf ears as Wife Beater immediately sprung back up into action with a look of rage in his eye. Damn, this would be annoying. Kick, punch, headbutt. Elbow. Wife Beater came rushing in, looking to set his massive elbow into the side of my head. He caught the blow with relative ease. Despite the man's size, his strength was actually lacking. He needed to make a show of power, fast. Fights didn't last long, especially against amateurs like these. His arm grasped in my hand, I reached over and put it over my shoulder. Woo! And with all the effort I could muster, I flipped the man over me, sending him crashing into the ground. Usually I wouldn't have the strength to lift such a massive beast. However, momentum was on my side, and as I bent down, it was more of a fall on his part than a flip. Before I could admire my handiwork, however, I caught something in the side of my eye. Punch? Punch, jump kick, elbow, headbutt. It's a normal kick. Leather Jacket wasn't content to let his buddy take a beating. Both his hands still in his pocket, he kicked right at my side. Luckily, I noticed the attack before it was too late, and intercepted it by punching straight down at his outstretched leg. The fucker! Leather Jacket bounced back, agitated. A coward like him wasn't likely to keep fighting after too much of a beating. But an asshole like him wasn't likely to surrender while he still had his pride. Leather Jacket was already preparing a counterattack. Meanwhile, I noticed that Wife Beater was already back up on my right. Shit. Both attacking. What to prioritize? Left punch, left grapple, right kick, right punch. Oh shit. My muscles moved to react before freezing up. Felt the pain in the back of my head. This usually meant I was making a mistake. It also usually hurt like shit. Though it hurt less than the mistake I was about to make. In action, I changed course. Left punch, left grapple, right kick, right punch. Alright, right grapple. Wife Beater was attempting to grab me, and I couldn't let that happen. While maintaining eye contact with Leather Jacket, I took a half step back and elbowed Wife Beater right in the chest. And I struck out forward, slamming Leather Jacket with a straight punch right in the face. As he stumbled backwards, I turned my full attention to Wife Beater. I softened him up with 3 punches to his stomach, then finished with a kick, sending him to the ground. I should deal with that one. Leather jacket. You little shit! In a slick motion, the man took out a switchblade knife and swung it around, spun it around. Then he went for me. Slash stab, slash strike. Oh shit. That one was tough. My muscles moved to react before freezing up. This is tricky. Slash stab, strike. Okay. I completely missed the slam that showed up, but the man was attempting a straight up and down slice right at my chest. It's a tricky attack to avoid, so I didn't aim to avoid it. Instead, I threw a punch right at the hand holding the knife, intercepting it mid-attack. Leather jacket recoiled at the blow, letting go of the knife. I caught it midair with my left hand and swung it out, nicking the leather jacket's arm pretty badly. The knife was leather jacket's trump card. This should be over now. I dropped the knife and then, for good measure, slammed leather jacket one more time, right in the face, sending him to the floor. And like that, the fight was finished. Two combatants sprawled on the floor. Two of them were in a bad state. Meanwhile, I was doing my best not to breathe too heavily. The less effort it appeared I had exerted, the more leverage I had in negotiations. I haven't even taken out my knife yet. I'd leave while neither of you have suffered any major injuries. While I'm going to let you just flee. Their faces hardened. This might not be enough. I leaned in and spoke in a hushed voice, one that Krish and the restaurant owner wouldn't be able to hear. You'll have plenty of time to try this later. Keep pushing the issue while I'm here, however, and I'll have to push back. This seemed to have much more of an effect on the two. Nervously, they looked to each other, each trying to gauge the other's reaction to my proposal. Then silently, the two slowly got to their feet. Without even a parting remark, they began to walk away. After a few paces, that walk turned into a run. It wasn't long before they were straight up sprinting away, tails tucked between their legs. That sucked. They didn't like fighting. And stay out! Timely, Krish. Very timely. I cracked my neck. Man, I really didn't like fighting. God damn it, Krish. We showed them what we're made of, eh, Vels? Yeah, I'd say. The restaurant owner nervously approached for the makeshift cover he was hopped behind. Thank you, too, really. I'm grateful for your help in this matter. And I'm sorry that I judged you far too harshly. Had you not appeared, I'm not sure what would have happened. Oh, no need to thank me. Really, I did nothing. Accurate, Krish. You did do nothing. It wasn't a big deal at all. I'm not sure exactly how to pay you back for this. Ain't it obvious? We were coming to have a meal at your place. I think a free lunch would be a fitting reward, wouldn't you say, Vels? That. Wow, how shameless. No kidding. Declaring your desired reward so matter-of-factly really damaged the selfless hero vibe you were going for, Krish. I guess. By the owner's face, I could tell he was also somewhat put off by this request. Still, he shrugged his shoulders. That seems fair enough. Alright then, have a meal in the house. But just don't order too much. Trust me, we will. Then Krish began laughing at a joke only they found funny. Meanwhile, I decided to handle more important matters. I turned to the restaurant owner. It's likely won't be the last of those guys. We just bought you a little bit of time. And you can't count on the help of random strangers to keep you safe for long. In fact, from what I can tell, nobody can really keep you safe from the Duats. So I'd heavily consider what you intend moving on from here. The restaurant owner looked a little bit shaken at this. Had he really not considered this yet? Thanks for the advice. I'll go back to work now. Without another word, the man turned his back and went back into the store. Dick. Well, might as well. Oh shit. Instantly I pulled down my hoodie to make sure it was as low as it went. I turned around and pulled on Krish by the arm. Come on, let's have lunch. Hey, you two. Oh, shit. What if I took a minute of your time? Ah, god damn it. Kane, are you a fucking hell? Approaching from behind was Kane Shea, a reporter. He was probably looking for a scoop, some article to write about. And we had just provided exactly that for him. Damn it. If I'd known someone like him was lurking around nearby, I wouldn't have bothered stepping in like that. Just by luck, the one time I try and do a good thing, there was somebody nearby to document it. Kept my hood down and tried to enter the restaurant, but Krish had other plans. Of course, what do you want? I just took 3 steps away and kept looking away. Well, I was just doing some normal rounds of the place, and I just so happened to catch that whole scene. Honestly, that was incredible. Really impressive stuff, guys. And you know, seeing how many complaints I've been getting about it lately, I thought it high time to actually put out a piece of the Duats. So I was wondering if you two wouldn't mind giving me a quick interview. It'd be a huge help. Kane put his head down pleadingly. Of course. Krish, you fool. I'd be happy to help. This is like a literature-adjacent experience, yeah? I mean, I wouldn't be requiring you to actually write anything down, but I'd be writing something down, so kinda. I mean, besides that, I'm just happy to be interviewed. Awesome. What about your friend there? Kane pointed at me. I'm fine. You sure? You had some impressive moves there. I'd really like to get to hear your story. I don't have a story. I don't want to do an interview. No, just ignore Vels. See, Vels is real shy. Wouldn't appreciate being recorded, you feel me? Hey, I respect it. I was pretty shy as a kid. Actually, I first became a reporter to try and get better at talking to strangers. Really? I mean, it was a reason. Anyways, guess I'll have to settle with just interviewing you. Settle? Hey, didn't mean anything derogatory about it. Just meant that in the business, 2 witnesses are better than 1. Fair enough. Alright, give me a second. Kane began fishing in his pocket. He took out a recorder and pressed play. Wouldn't you just use a phone to record things in this day and age? How old was Kane? So who do I have the pleasure of interviewing? Hey there, my name's Krish Devaki. Hey them. I'm Panthean born and Panthean proud. Ah, another native. One with actual hometown pride. I can respect it. Honestly, all the people who shit on this place really get on my nerves. Like, it has its issues, but the people here are awesome. Anyone who says Panthea has gone downhill needs to get bent. Krish, my friend, I couldn't agree with you more. Well then, born in Panthea, what was your family situation like? I was raised by my dad, Vashu. Unfortunately, my mother died when I was pretty young, so I never knew her very well. Oh, sorry to hear that. Losing your parents at a young age sucks. Yeah, well, like I said, I never knew her very well. Hard to feel that bad about her. Anywho, Pops ran this really sick cafe. Really, he had to be there. It was great. He doesn't anymore. No, unfortunately it closed down. Anyways, I don't have any other siblings, so my family's always been Pops. In a way, I treat a lot of Panthea as my family. I like that. Then what do you do now? Right now? I didn't do too good in school. No money for college, so I'm kind of just going from part-time job to part-time job. Finding work whenever I can, trying to stay afloat, you feel me? Kinda hard with our economy how it is right now. Definitely. Are you hoping to settle down at a permanent place anytime soon? Well, I'm hoping to become an author. That's kind of a pipe dream, so I don't know how reliable that something like that could be. Realistically, the chances I pull it off are pretty low. Hey, don't talk about it. Don't talk like that. I'm not gonna bullshit you and say you got great odds or anything. I've heard plenty of stories of people who regret never taking a shot when they could. You're young. You have youth. This is the time to try and fail. Fail, but it ain't really necessary, you know? That's realistic. Like I said, kid, I give the truth. Well, thanks. Alright then, moving on to the main event. Mind describing what just occurred here? I mean, not much to explain. Some assholes were harassing a poor Panthean citizen, someone who didn't do anything wrong. Figured that was pretty bullshit, so I stepped in and did something. I have to say, most people wouldn't just step in and do something. I suppose. I wasn't looking, but I could tell Krish was giving a shit-eating grin right about now. So he kept the peace by force. I mean, I had to. You saw those assholes being super uncordial. Uncordial's putting it lightly. I'm in favor of kicking some ass, personally. Used to be that fights were just things that could happen. Then we as a collective got a stick up our asses and started getting litigious. So why do you think those men were harassing the restaurant owner? Ain't it obvious? Those were Duat boys. They were shaking him down for protection money. Protection money? What's that about? You know, paying your dues. Cost of business for selling on Duat turf if you heard from them. If anything, I'd think it Panthea turf. It's both. You gotta pay your taxes to the government. You gotta pay protection to the Duats. So protection, what does that actually entail? Well, if you believe the Duats, it was protection from other criminals and having issues. If you pay your protection money, the Duats will help you out, deter any third parties from messing with you, and solve certain problems that get in the way of your revenue stream. Exchange for that, protection money. And so, did the Duats have a point? I mean, sounds like a decent service they provide. They'd have a point if they didn't harass stores that didn't accept their protection money. Problem is, you don't have a choice to say no. Not really. Not really when there's that fucking insane power balance at work. I see. So you're saying it's more like extortion than protection. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So, Krish, some people say that the Duats have been getting worse lately. Right. Oh, so you agree with that? Then, in your opinion, what do you think is causing the rise? It's obvious, ain't it? They don't got anybody putting their checks on them anymore. It used to be that the Duats were in a pretty nasty feud with the Shikome. Before that, it was the PCTL? Something like that. Point is, those wars came and went, and the Duats are still standing strong. Only thing that's supposedly keeping them in check is the police, and they haven't been doing a good job of that at all. I guess the Duats have gotten better at working around the police. They became large enough to have alternate solutions to problems the cops present. And thus, Duat dominance, you believe it to be a bad thing? I mean, yeah? My pops actually said he kinda likes it better this way. There's a lot less conflict nowadays. And gang conflict's the type to leave bodies. I don't know about all that. Something rubs me the wrong way with letting a group like the Duats do whatever the hell they want. Yeah, I can see that side of things. Alright, I think that's probably enough for me to work with. Again, thanks for lending me your time. No problem at all. Glad to be of help. Two continued to talk for a little bit longer. Krish asked Kane some questions about the literary world. Kane seemed to try his best to be useful. And before too long, Kane turned around and left. Thank God. You know, Kane's actually a pretty cool guy. Which is how we know that Krish is a bit naive. Not at all like I heard. You knew about him? Of course. What Panthean hasn't? Yeah, well, you can be special. That's the case, why'd you do the interview in the first place? Wanted to give my 2 cents. Why'd you hide in the corner the whole time? Because I didn't. Now come on, let's just get lunch. Just wanted to move the conversation along. Krish was eager to acquiesce. 2 of us entered the restaurant and got a seat. I had to admit, there was a nice ambience about the place. Sort of an old-time diner vibe. Hopefully the food was decent. Krish had assured me of that much, but I knew them better than to trust their opinions. As we were ordering our meal, I noticed someone walk over to our table. I audibly sighed. What now? Krish, who was looking the opposite way, didn't know what I was sighing at. Because of that, they came to the quite reasonable conclusion that for some reason I was sighing at them. What, you don't like this place? You haven't even eaten yet, you're not allowed to judge. Besides, we're getting the meal for free. As far as I'm concerned, complaining about a free meal is a surefire sign that something's gone wrong. So just wait, okay? I didn't bother correcting their misperception. I was too busy trying to analyze the approaching man. Couldn't quite get a read on him from just his looks. Before I could come to an opinion, however, he reached our table and spoke up. Krish. Huh? Yi? I thought that was you. Oh, hey, Mr. Yi. What are you doing here? I'm here to have lunch. Oh, right. So how have you been? It's been a while since we've had a chat. In fact, I don't think we've talked since I left Panthea. You know, we haven't. I'm doing good. I mean, reasonably so, at any rate. Getting work, at least. Ah, well, that's what's most important. To quote Freud, work is man's most natural love. But to be fair, Freud was never particularly lauded as a philosopher. He was just the first quote that came to mind. Point is, it's good that you're employed. Youth of your age ought to have a job. Or in my case, jobs. Yes, well, whatever gets the job done, eh? Jobs. So then, who are you eating with? Oh, this is Vels. I met Vels not too long ago, but we've hit it off. Figured I'd show off one of the best restaurants in Panthea. A wise choice. By the way, shame about your father's cafe. When I heard about its closing, I was deeply wounded. This place was my go-to for breakfasts. Yeah, it sucks. But you know, we're holding up good enough. Good, good. He turned to me. Well then, Vels, is it? Pleasure to meet you. My name is Yi Giles. I nodded at him, then mumbled a greeting. Nice to meet you. I noticed Yi being slightly put off by the response. Oh, don't worry. Vels just doesn't like talking too much. Oh, Vels, you seem particularly quiet today. Krish was also shooting me a look. Whatever. It was too soon to tell for sure. I still got the vibe that I didn't want to show too much of myself to this Yi fellow. Yi, for his part, seemed to accept this explanation. Ah, a colleague of mine is quite similar in that aspect. I admire someone who only speaks when there is something worth saying. Whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent. Nice quote. Ludwig Wittgenstein. Interesting fellow, that one. Yi turned back to Krish. Good. So, Krish, I couldn't help but notice your encounter outside through the window. You were being interviewed for something. Oh, right, that. Kane Shay just wanted an interview with me after I kicked some gangster ass. I threw a look at Krish. They seemed to look right back at me, challenging me. If you want to say otherwise, speak up. Put my eyes down. Sure, take the credit here. You clearly won it. Kicking some gangster ass. You never change, do you? Oh, I've changed plenty. I still have a decent conscience. Well, that is one thing of yours that would be good not to change. Thanks. Not a compliment, Krish. Not to make you repeat the story a second time, but what exactly gangster ass did you kick? Oh, well, you know. It was Krish beginning to stall. That felt weird. They'd been pretty eager to boast up until this point. Why were they stalling and giving out any details? Whatever caused Krish to temporarily pause, they eventually continued. Earlier, the restaurant owner was being harassed by some Duat members. They were pushing him to accept the protection offer. He clearly wasn't interested, but they persisted. Those members then threatened to get physical. 'Cause Intervening was only right. Interesting phrasing for Krish. Virtuous path, right? Indeed. Duat members were really threatening the restaurant owner. How disheartening. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, I needed some more info. Although I had to guess what the underlying cause of awkwardness between the two might be. The strained awkwardness I had felt from the beginning of the conversation. How do you feel about the Duats, eh? Vels! What? I want to know you better. It's a topical question. A slight smile crossed Yee's face. My thoughts on the Duats, huh? How to answer that, I wonder. The truth is the object of philosophy, but not always of philosophers. Huh? Vels, the question is a tad complicated. After all, technically speaking, I am a member of the Duats. Seriously? Krish looked down. They were clearly already aware of this. Yeah, that figures. I knew I got a vibe from this guy. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, at this point I occupy a decently high position on the Duat's chain of command. Though I attribute that mostly to me being one of a few with any real higher education to speak of. Organizational and mathematical skills are, perhaps unsurprisingly, few and far between with those people. I certainly haven't been sent on many field missions. Right, that doesn't strike me as your style, Mr. V. Certainly, very much not so. They feigned a positive tone. Krish was clearly uncomfortable speaking up on this topic. I could read between the lines. Krish knew, to some extent respected Mr. Yi before he became a Duat. On a personal level, Krish likes Yi quite a lot. However, also on a personal level, Krish loathed the Duats. At some point, Krish must have heard about Yi joining the Duats. The inability to reconcile these two beliefs is messing with them. So before now, they were trying to steer around the topic. Now I had pushed it to the forefront. Maybe I should have thought ahead a bit more. Yi also seemed to sense the weird atmosphere and sighed. I hope to avoid this topic. Not a particularly pleasant one. Some more silence. My position is certainly a delicate one. To answer your question, Vels, I hold quite a bit of contempt for the Duats. He does? You do? Naturally. You didn't hear this from me, but their brutish methods have only increased as of late. I mean, at a certain time, the Duats actually acted as sort of defender force for the city, home to the homeless. At another time, they were simply another less legal business. The distinction between them and Olympos seemed negligent, morally speaking. However, at the current time, they're slowly morphing into something of a noose and clasping around the city. Yeah, exactly. They're becoming really toxic. Fucking easy, Krish. Hold some cards close to the chest. Aside to interject. If that's the case, why are you still a member? At this, Yi let out a sad little chuckle. Why, indeed. As I've mentioned, my position is quite delicate. I never really intended to join the Duats in the first place. Given the circumstances of my return to Panthea, I wasn't really afforded the option, and I performed my duties. Now that I'm at my position, simply retiring from the Duats is... Well, on every level it's a troubling process, but at mine it's even more contentious than usual. That would be something of a lie to say I was stuck. It would also be something of a lie to say I wasn't. There was a genuine sadness in Yi's voice as he lamented. Certainly to some extent he was drawing from reality. I couldn't bring myself to really trust this man. Much of what he just said was the actual truth. How much was just what Krish wanted to hear? Well, if Yi was hoping to win sympathy from Krish, it worked. Seriously? That's fucking horrible. I believe it's rather standard. After all, it is a criminal organization. I'd have to have a word with some people if it was an easy job to leave. It's not like I'm completely blameless in all of this. Like I said, I had circumstances returning to Panthea. Circumstances in some part of my own doing. Yeah, but still. Honestly, if the Duats could be hampered, I would be in favor of it. Really? Because, like, that's not an impossibility. Oh? I know people, you know? People who've had enough of the Duats. And, like, I ain't exactly the strategy type who knows what to do with all these people. I mean, if you're a Duat, and you're smart, surely you'd have some suggestions. Well, I don't know about that. True, I did have some ideas, but I'd have to think on it. Oh no, of course. Take whatever time you need. No rush or anything. Yes, this is certainly something worth thinking about. I don't want to lie to you, Krish, but I do quite prioritize my own personal safety. I'm not exactly eager to do anything that's going to get me killed. I don't want that either. Good to hear. But if there was a way we could maybe, I don't know, bring the Duats back on the right track with your help. Think about it. I really will. I'll meet with you again soon, really. It's absolutely not right that I haven't spoken to you for this long. That'd be great. You know, whenever you want to hang out, just hit me up. Well then, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'll be on my way then. You turned to me. It was nice meeting you, Vels. I'll keep an eye out for you. I kept my head low. Likewise. Just like that, he walked out of the restaurant. Well, that was a thing. For my part, I was just really wishing I had stalled coming to this restaurant for like 5 extra minutes. Krish, on the other hand, had gotten quite excited by the possibility of teaming up with E to make a move against the Duats. I mean, can you believe our luck? No, I can't. Yeah, we're really lucky. Getting in with the Duats like that? He's great. I knew he could be counted on. Why was I ever doubting him? We're doubting him because he joined the Duats, Krish. For the record, I think you should still be doubting him. Seriously? You heard what he said. He didn't have a choice. So he claims. I think he made all that up? I think he might have made some of it up. Nah, fuck off. I'm serious. Look, he left Panthea to teach ethics at some college. Ethics. And he came back to Panthea under some circumstances that forced him to join a violent gang. Or just being paranoid. Maybe. I admitted this earnestly. I absolutely had a paranoid streak. That is one thing we can confirm is true, based on the way this fellow thinks. Backup plans upon backups. On some level, I was proud of that paranoia. Paranoia is just a derisive word for preparedness. I'm just saying, stay sharp, okay? When ain't I sharp? Case in point. Eat shit. I might, depending on how good this restaurant actually is. At this, Krish laughed. We were able to put this argument behind us. From there, we ordered and ate our respective meals in relative silence. Some casual conversation, but nothing particularly interesting. For a while, what it was worth, Krish had been right. Smith's made a pretty decent burger. Nice cool milk, too. I made a note to come back here sometime. The shopkeeper had made good on their promise for a free meal. So yay, being a good person got rewarded. Go me. Krish and I then left the restaurant. Well, that was fun. I'm afraid I can't hang out any longer. Got another gig starting in like an hour. Got it. It was fun hanging out. Really? Yeah. Well, that's nice to hear. For the record, if I didn't have fun hanging out with you, I'd stop hanging out. Yeah, I know that. Just happy I got you to actually cop to it aloud. Oh, yeah, that's fair. Definitely not something you'd have done when we first met. Yeah, well, don't get used to it. I'm never used to anything. That's why nobody's able to catch me off guard. 'Cause I'm always on my toes. If you say so. Next time we meet, I want you to have an actual concept for a story to flesh out prepared, okay? I might. I'm serious, Krish. You don't start making actual steps forward soon. You're never gonna write anything. I got it, really. Actual concept next time. Understood. See ya. Bye. Just like that, they turned and started making their way to whatever job they had. Meanwhile, I turned around and started heading down the opposite direction. I remembered Panthea's geography well enough. A questionable prospect, to be fair. My place was actually perpendicular to the direction Krish left from. But I figured putting some different distance between the two of us before I started making my way back wouldn't hurt. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past that idiot to pretend he's to be going to work just to try and stalk me back to my place. They seemed to be getting pretty annoyed that I refused to tell them where I actually lived, but I knew where they actually lived. After going a bit further, I turned down an alley. And while walking down the alley, I quickly turned down another, then another. And I waited for a few seconds. After checking the upcoming corners, I resumed my walk. Luckily, there was a shop with big glass windows at the end of the street, so I could see behind me in it without too much issue. Nobody was probably following me. But you could never be too careful. These steps were necessary to make sure you weren't being trailed. Check my phone. God, really? I was hanging out with Krish too much. Didn't have the time to be spending this many hours doing nothing. Took a deep sigh. Thought back to a conversation I had with Krish pretty recently. They had said they had loved Panthea, but it was harder to lately. They said that they thought, on some level, Panthea was rotting. How incredibly sad. Even Krish could tell something was wrong. If only they knew the half of it. Rotting? Panthea was rotten. Deeply so, in a way that sucked in everybody. Thought about Krish. They were likely to be a liability. At this point, if I were smart, I'd cut them off. But I wouldn't. I wouldn't come to regret this decision until much later. Well now, isn't this just an interesting little scenario we found ourselves looking in on? Krish and Vels. We really got some characters close to the ground. We could hear what's really up in Panthea. Always appreciated. Always appreciated. People's views are always inextricably linked to their position in life. No getting around that. Having your perspective removed from any position of power or information may, paradoxically, get them closer to seeing the truth of things. Just my 2 cents at any rate. At the very least, we get to follow a character who can kick some ass. In our modern and civilized society, fighting is a skill undervalued, despite it historically being key. I applaud Vels for not letting the dying art of martial combat die out. Us fighters need to band together, you hear? That's a rare smile. And good on the Duats for providing some generic thugs to beat down on. Biff, pow, sock. Unabashed evil is also underrated. It really helps provide some guilt-free targets to punish and abuse. I mean, we all crave the suffering of others. It's human nature, the greatest form of schadenfreude. But since most of us are moral creatures, watching innocent people suffer tingles our guilt receptors. But if they're bad people, we can watch their suffering with pleasure. How convenient. Thank you, Duats. But I suppose not all Duats. For instance, Yi seems like a good bloke. If you ask Krish. Ask Vels if Yi is just as shady as any other 2-bit gangster. Vels might not have a lot of faith in Krish's judgment capabilities. Then again, isn't that the arrogance of Vels? Krish has known Yi for far longer than Vels. Why wouldn't they have the best understanding of the situation? Krish is also a bit naive. Skepticism is healthy, but an excessive dose is called paranoia, and Vels' worldview is bordering on that. You're not wrong. Of course, I also don't think paranoia is negative either, but let's just roll with common sensibilities for a moment. So the question is this: to trust Yi, or not to trust Yi? Do you think Yi has Krish's best interests in heart? I don't know if this is going to be a bet, but I'm still going to put this up to a poll. Do you think he has Krish's best interest in heart? Let me know. The poll will be in the video description as usual. If it is a bet, of course we'll use the percentage of the vote to decide how many chips we bet. If it's not, we'll just let it go. So until next time, until then, thanks for watching.